Hey guys, Amanda here. That's what I call myself on Newfoundland Witch Co. So I'm the A, and there's two of us. And Leslie is going to pop on at some point, I think, but I'm just going to get this started. I have a busy day and I have a busy evening still coming up. So we wanted to just since we decided to put out a YouTube channel. I can't believe I'm even doing this. Well, not that I can't believe it. I've had some people say, like, you guys should start a YouTube channel. And I'm just like, how do you guys keep up with all of it? Right. Like, I mean, and now like I have a TikTok personal account that I started like when COVID just hit. And I was really into it then, but I don't check it as much now since like the reels came out in Instagram. But apparently TikTok is still the thing, I've been told. So yeah, so we wanted to just pop on and do a YouTube little episode or whatever you guys call these things, video, and share about ourselves. So I'm, like I said, Amanda, and which company came about? Uh, Newfoundland Witch Company came about in September 25th, I think is the exact date. And so we are mostly like social media based on Instagram and Facebook. And now we have a YouTube channel and we have a website and we have a podcast. So we're growing. But it's just a lot of fun. And I think back as I begin to talk about myself now a little bit. This is a shirt, one of our shirts. We collaborated with Yellow Rose in St. John's. So this is one of our collaborations. I love it. I had to show it off. But yeah, so I look back on my life and I'm just going to tell you guys all about me now, my little journey. I look back on my life, and as a small child, I was definitely that kid like who loved being in the woods. And it's like a part of me forgot that, and that's the whole inner child healing stuff, and I've went through that. But it's like a part of you forgets about that child and what used to be fun and just what made you laugh and glow. And yeah, mom was definitely in the woods or out on boat, down the beach, like outside, just nature. Like I need the elements. I need the elements to be who I am. So yeah, back to the woods. So I would always be out in the woods, and my family, like my mom's family, mostly one of my aunts, she would always just kind of poke fun at it because I was obsessed with mushrooms. I would come home like just millions of questions, and I could just stay there all day, like just picking herbs and plants and flowers and just coming back with all kinds of shit, right? Like, and I forgot that I had that. I forgot that that was a part of me. I forgot that for a long time. And now I'm here realizing it in the last like couple of years. And I mean, I'm proud of myself because I mean, we all go through changes. We all grow. It's a whole, like that's a part of life. As long as you continue to grow, it's being stuck is when you get that stagnant and like you get that negative energy, and it's just not the good feels. But yeah, so I love being in the woods, and I love being in boat, and I love being at the beach, and I love just everything about outside. Like, and I just, yeah, so that went on for about I'd say like when did I kind of grow out of it? I'm trying to think now. And I'm wondering too, like if you guys have like this similar, because like the way society has, I mean, we've been raised in a society where, I mean, the children now, I mean, I'm not saying everybody's children are inside on their tablets, but I mean, it might not be as intense now. I don't have children, so I'm not speaking from like my own experience, but I have friends who have children, and I have like cousins and nieces and sorry, I have nephews. So like I know that kids are on like more than I was. I never had that, right? So I was outdoors. And I try and think back to when I kind of drifted from that and how my mental health kind of stemmed from there. So because I've had anxiety. I mean, I look back and I wasn't diagnosed as a child. I was diagnosed later on in life. But I look back and I'm like, yeah, I definitely had anxiety there. I had anxiety there, but I can't really remember. A part of me thinks I did have it before I was 12, but a part of me is not sure. So I know after 12, I definitely had it, but I had some life changes and stuff too. Like my parents split up and I went to live with my mom and then I went with my dad. So I mean, it's pretty common, but when I was going through it, it wasn't that common in a small town. But now it's just like, oh, your parents aren't together and mine neither kind of deal. But I know that that definitely brought on like extra anxiety, but I feel like it was already in me. I mean, I'm gonna say like 10, like 10 years old, maybe. And I wish I could remember clearly. I wish it was something that we all spoke about. And I wish I had like records of it, but I don't. Like I was a shy, timid girl who used to like fucking sorry, like that's gonna happen. Who used to get so like sick in class when I had to speak in front of anybody that I'd be in the bathroom for fucking like ever. I'm sure I'm not the only one here with the history of IBS. But no, yeah, so I know I had it 12 onward, but a part of me thinks that I was there when I was younger, and a part of me wonders if it was because of like my divide, like my soul's divide, because I was still in a society that, I mean, it's not as it is today, but it was still not like in the woods all the time. Like I still, you know, partaked in like a normal society that we called normal at that time. So I wonder if not living like what my soul needed at that age brought it on. Or I sometimes wonder if because when I was a child, I did see a ghost. And I mean, it was the only one that I remember as a child. Um, it was in my bedroom and I was reading Babysitter Club books. I think it was Babysitter. It could have been Ariel Stein. I'm not sure, like Goosebumps or something, but I feel like it was Babysitter. I'm pretty confident. And I was like 9 or 10 years old. And that's why that age is standing out. And I was just finishing and I had like this Cabbage Patch night light, like big old lamp, right? Lamp next to me. And I just went to turn it out. And I had a pretty big bedroom for a kid. Like my bed was over, I had it by my window, say right over here. And then it was like my night table. And then like it was long and a big closet. And it was an old salt box, like a 2-story salt box. And then in like the corner, like I had a shelf with like all my toys and stuff like that. There was dresser and dresser. And then a little rocking chair was like in the middle. And that's where she was. It was like, I think probably around what age I was at that time, like 9 or 10, if I was to guess, right by her height and but she had on all white. It was like a long dress, like maybe a night dress, and it was almost like it was too big for her. Like I couldn't see her hands and I couldn't see her feet. It was like just on the floor trailing and covering her hands, long hair, and her face was all blurred. And she was just going around and around and around in circles, almost like she was looking for something. And then she just stopped and was just like, well, I guess like looking at me, and she started to come towards me and I just like lost it. I was like, Mom. And then Mom came running because I like freaked the fuck out, right? And anyway, so she just disappeared. And like ever since then, I'm like, did that fuck me up? And I mean, obviously, I vaguely remember little things. Like I was never a very good sleeper. Like I always struggled with like sleeping and just nightmares. Like I had and a big part of why I smoke, like, use cannabis at night before I go to bed is so I don't have these crazy nightmares. Because my dreams, like, yeah, I get like dreams are very important. Like if you, because like they can be a window to like a dimension that we don't have access to in this realm. But to me, it's just too stressful. Like I don't mind every now and then I allow myself, but for the most part, I'm just like, get me some weed so I don't dream. Because you don't like, well, I don't, and I've heard that is common. So I used to have reoccurring dreams. I would go to bed and it was like a Days of Our Lives things going on, like soap opera, right? Like I would go to bed one night and it was always this old lady with like cat eyeglasses on, and she was always trying to kidnap me. And every night it would be a different scenario. Like one day she showed up at like this beach house, another day she showed up in the hospital, chasing me around the hospital. Like, and I remember these dreams, and I'm pretty sure they were like around that same age too. So it was like the intense dreams, seeing the spirit. My mom is kind of like that too. In that house, she says she felt like taps on her shoulders. She sensed like things behind her. She's seeing things out of the corner of her eye, that kind of thing, right? So, and I can't remember what we did find out, but I feel like there may have been a death in that house, and it is a old, like it's old house. So I mean, it's not, it's not out of the ordinary or, out of the question. So that is kind of like where I look back and see that I did have all this. And I always knew, and my first recollection of me just knowing things and just picking up my energy very strongly. I think I was no, I knew when my cousin passed away. So I just had this weird feeling. I think I was 11 and 10 or 11, and she died, like she passed away young, and I felt this like feeling come over me, and that was the first time I ever felt that. And then the phone rang, and I said to mom, like, something is wrong, and my cousin passed away. And I remember that. But then I remember just knowing that, like, I remember feeling people's energy at like the age of 12, and just I didn't know what the fuck was going on, but I just knew like that energy felt bad. Like as a kid, like how am I going to explain it, right? And I didn't have a clue. This was so long ago. Like I didn't know like empathy. I didn't know my intuition and stuff like that. So I just kept trying to tell my family and my mom like what I was feeling, but no one, like how are you going to prove stuff? I don't mean to sound braggy here, but like I was right. And whenever I get that feeling, and it's not even a feeling, it's sometimes it's just like something just pops in my head. And it's like, man, like, yep, I just fucking know that's gonna happen. And then it happens. So I got that going on too. And I had that going on as a child. So a part of me, in this whole rant, I wonder if like, because I always think about mental illness. It's been it was something I dealt with as a small child through my family. And then I ended up with anxiety and OCD and IBS at times, but this all connected, right? And, your bouts of depression and stuff like that. But I mean, I wonder if that was because my soul was just like, man, this is not your life. Or if the spiritual side of it at that age was just too much for me to handle. Or tons of stuff like environmental, like yes, definitely, like stuff that we were exposed to, like water, etc., etc. But I always think about that. I don't know if you guys ever think about that stuff, but I always think about that stuff, and I get in my head and I wonder this and that, and I look back and try and connect the dots on my witchy past. But yeah, so being a witch, I mean, you're just a witch. I mean, if you have, if you think it, you're a witch. Like, I mean, it's not something that I don't think you can become a witch. Like, I mean, you might want to, and you might, but if you're not really, like, it probably will just be a phase, like, you know what I mean? And that's normal too. Like everybody wants to try everything as well. But for me, I definitely resonate with it big time. And over the last few years, it just aligned my life more than I've ever felt, and took it out of alignment as well. Like it's just both, like it was double whammy here. But because this all came into place in my life, and me discovering this about me again, threw off a whole bunch of other stuff that I still don't have dealt with. Now I'm dealing with it, so it's not like it's stagnant, but I'm not dealing with it. I shouldn't say that. I'm like I'm being mean to myself here. I am dealing with it, but it's not moving along as quickly as I would like, but I'm still dealing with it. It's just stuff is still just taking its slow time. And I'm an Aries. I didn't get into that either yet. I'm an Aries, and I'm like this hybrid Aries. Like I have so much Aries in me. It's like fire, and it's like, what we're like, and the patience is, not our virtue. So when things are kind of going slowly along, it does take a bit more work for me to get myself grounded again and balanced. So that's why I do have like a daily routine, and I kind of incorporated that into my life for the last few years. I love my cards. Like I love turning to my cards daily. I love crystals. My crystals were definitely like my first reintroduction, like my rocks, like my crystals. But I don't know if I ever let go of that, because you go to the beach. I think that was always with me. That was a part of witchcraft that I never let go, that I never grew from. Like my crystals, like I always had crystals. Like I can't remember a time I never. Like when I look back, it was always something I carried around with me. Seashells, rocks, crystals, whatever. It was always a part of my life. And candles, but candles are a bit different. I didn't carry them with me everywhere, but always that. I just got off topic. But no, yeah, like it's not something that you can just wake up one day and like, I'm gonna be a witch today. Like you might be able to play the role, and but if I mean, and I mean, part of me believes that everybody does have this deep inside, but whether or not they allow it to rise up. And if you're not allowing it to rise up, you can't go out there and say, like, I'm a witch. If you're not, I mean, it's a lifestyle. It is. Because the last 3 years, like the rituals, oh yeah, that's what I was talking about, my morning rituals. So I incorporated my morning rituals, my morning movement. I get up in the morning, I get my warm lemon water, and I have incorporated like ginger or cayenne. And I actually read, because I'm studying to be a herbalist as well. And I'm loving it. A chartered herbalist. So I'll be like this register with the association, and I'll have clients, and I'm super excited. I just got to get it done. I have so much going on. The school's been so amazing to me. If you ever watch this, I am grateful. But no, so I read about cayenne in like hot lemon water, and it's good for I, I gotta double check this. I might pause this in a bit anyway, so I need a drink, but it is really good for like getting your organs and stuff going. And I feel like it might be connected to your circulation and your heart and stuff like that. So I'm gonna start incorporating that more into my morning rituals. So it's like my morning ritual is I have my lemon water. I don't like it hot, but I always flick on the kettle, so I just stick around with some stuff, and I work out for at least 20 minutes, 20 minutes to a half hour. Like I'll do either like abs, glutes, arms, whatever I can think of, like whatever I'm in the mood for. Like my go-to is abs. I do that every second day, and it's like a 20-minute routine. I love it, but it's all about like, this is all connected. Like, I mean, you might not think like, I don't think I need to get here and get ripped on, if you want that, great, if that's your passion. But for me, it's more about like just that bit of movement to get you going, and like the health benefits of it. And staying fit is obviously like, and I mean, staying active, I shouldn't say, like, I mean, everybody's body is different. So just staying active is really helpful to maintain mental health, physical health, all over well-being. Like, and I mean, even if it's a 20-minute to a half hour walk a day, even just something a day. And I mean, all our bodies are different shapes. We're all different sizes. That means nothing. Like but it does mean something about movement. Like if you're not moving enough, like you're going to end up with issues, because you need your heart pumping, you need your circulation moving. Like that is all about living a balanced life. And if you want to live a magical life, you need to have some movement, and preferably in nature or yoga or whatever you love, running, weights, gym, whatever you do. But nature, like I like being outside. I love when it comes and you can just go for a nice walk or a nice run outside. It's just, it clears your mind. Like I said to so many people, when I come back from a long run, like on a nice day, like a warm day, and you get like so sweaty, and it's like you have a glow. It's like this facial. It's like I just had a running facial, and you're high and you're floating. I love it. But yeah, so movement is a big part of my morning. And in the morning, I'm more slow going. Like I used to run in the morning, but more so now I just like getting on my mat. And even if it's just yoga, like a half hour of yoga to an hour, whatever you can spare. And then I get some fresh air, and I feed the birds and the squirrels, and I connect with nature. And I've been going up in the woods with my cat for a little walk in the mornings now, just like 10-15 minutes, because it's like, he's a cat and he just wants to eat grass and smell everything. But then I do a card pull, and then I'm good to go. And I might light some like Palo Santo or an incense, or just do a bit of cleansing if I feel that. I started using my diffuser for my my nebulizer, and some essential oils again. I've been using rosemary just while I've been working here and studying. And I got my salt lamp going, and my crystals, and lots of water, lots and lots of water. Is all connected to living this life. But that's my morning routine. And I'm going to pause this now. I don't know if it's going to seem like you guys will know, but I'm going to see what Leslie's at, because I just ranted for a long time. Yeah, and I think Leslie's soon going to be popping on now. So yeah, so that's my morning routine, and I do really believe that it is a part of this witchy lifestyle. But everybody has their own views. Everybody has their own routine, their own rituals, what they do in the morning. But that's what works for me. That's what makes me feel the most grounded. That's what keeps me balanced mentally because of all my catastrophic thinking that I get. But that's just me kind of giving you some advice that might help you. And it yeah, so it helped me kind of reconnect with that child that I lost when I went through like my teenage and my 20s, and then I reconnected. And it is like when people talked about it, like I didn't really understand, like, I knew like that I had this child, like obviously in me, like that part of me was still with me, but I didn't really understand about like the healing part of it and stuff like that. I do feel like you can, I mean, for some people, they might be able to take a book and understand it. But for me, like, yeah, I can understand like herbs and like your body parts and all that. But when it comes to like the mental side of things and how people's brains work and all that, like for me, I really need to experience it. So I feel like I have definitely tapped into my inner child. Um, and I'm not saying that it's completely healed, but I feel like I'm on that journey, that right path. And it is all about connecting with that side of you, that the witchy side of you, like just that spiritual side. And it's, I mean, a lifestyle of like self-sufficiency, and like more of a natural lifestyle. Like the more natural you can be, the better. I went vegan. I love animals, but I'm not going to get here and preach anything because I went a very long time, eating animals. But I will say this, that when I stopped eating animals is when I started to connect more out in nature. And maybe that's just me, but I definitely feel like the squirrels are coming around more and the birds, like I can be out there and they're just around my face. Like I don't get like blue jays in my hand or anything, and the crows don't get on my arm yet, but I definitely feel they are more relaxed around me. You know what I mean? And maybe that's just me, but vegan is like a plant-based lifestyle, like is like a part of this lifestyle too. And I'm not saying that you have to be, because a part of me will probably have codfish, and that is a part of me as a Newfoundlander, I believe, and my Métis. So I do feel torn about some things as well. But when last summer I allowed myself to eat the cod that I caught, and my dad cooked it. I caught it, he cooked it, and we had dinner together. And that's a part of his tradition. That's a part of our lives. So I mean, I don't really agree with things being cut and dry. And I do think maybe I should come up with a different word than vegan for myself, because I haven't had cod like since, but I do plan on having it again when he goes out for the cod fishery. Like that is a part of my heritage, my history, my family. Like to me, that's tradition. So like lobster, but I might have it for Father's Day when it's in season, and then I'm not gonna have it again. I'll have my cod during the cod fishery and I won't have it again. So it's like that's tradition, and I kind of separate that. But a true vegan would probably think, okay, you're not, if you want to say true vegan. So basically, I'm a vegetarian who doesn't do dairy or any meat, only like twice a year. And I might get like a bit of egg and milk and something if I'm out that I didn't know, right? Like, and that's life. Like, you don't beat yourself over that stuff, but just trying and just cutting back on your carbon footprint, like when it comes to like that stuff, like just being mindful of what you put in your body, like mindful eating, mindful thinking, mindful lifestyle. It's all about mindfulness, and that is connected to this as well. Like to connect to the spiritual level, to be able to be grounded enough to sit on your mat and to see rituals like flourish and come before your, and happen. I do believe you need to have that grounding. And I mean, I don't feel grounded every day, and I don't feel grounded all day every day. But when I get down to do my rituals, I'm 9 chances out of 10, I'm making sure like that I'm getting as grounded as I can. If I really want to, if I'm putting effort into doing this, I might as well do it right. If not, you're just doing it and nothing's probably going to happen. So you really got to think about your lifestyle. And it is a different lifestyle than what society is used to. And we're the weird ones. And that's okay. Like, because if we were all the same, like this world wouldn't, like, we don't have these abilities, these powers, these whatever you want to call it going on for like no reason. There's no way in hell that that's for no reason. Like, we didn't feel it as a child, and then it was like oppressed, like it was just pushed down. And that was because when I look back, like at that age, after like 12 and forward, I was like stressed out, I was feeling anxious about school all the time, I was like, friend was doing this and that, I was shy, I was like, it was like just not this enjoyable time unless I was with my small group of friends that I really, really like love spending time with, that I let into my circle. But other than that, it's just like, whoa, like either you're feeling their energy, but like then, or like anxiety is making you feel stressed out that you're going to the bathroom constantly, but no one understood that then. But I mean, I do believe there is obviously a connection to us, like as spiritual ones, and our history as children and around that age, feeling things like that, and then maybe mental health, kind of stemming a little bit from that. But that's just my thought. Like, I don't know. We can all go down that rabbit hole for days. Like, I could speak here for hours. But yeah, so, and then I reconnected, and I have my practice and I have my rituals, and I'm part owner of Witch Co, and I love it. And I love having a community of witches online. I love all of you guys. And I don't say that a lot. It's just like Witch Co to me, like, my God, it's my heart and soul. Like, I just want to get to a place that it is taking up my whole day, right? Like, I got my studies done. I'm a chartered herbalist. I can be a little seamstress. I sew too. I can be a little seamstress on the side and just squeeze it in when I need to with witch fashion or whatever I want to do. But for the most part, like, I want to help people connect with their gifts. I want to help people find balance, be mindful. I want to show them rituals. I want to just teach them like a witch life, like it, because it is a lifestyle and it's a change, and it's not one that everyone is accepting of. And it's not as bad as it was, thankfully, but you're still going to have your people that question you, because we all do. I mean, I've had friends that just say, like, when are you going to stop that witch stuff? And I'm like, I'm going to stop being like me. I found who I was, and I have to stop who I am. But I know it's like some people don't mean anything by it. It's just society. So, yeah. So I'm hoping to pop back frequently and do stuff like this if it turns out good. And obviously I won't go on like this big long-winded rant about myself, but I just really wanted you guys to know me on a different level. So when I do pop on, you can kind of relate more, because I want to pop on and do some cards. I want to pop on and just talk about the moons, talk about crystals, talk about whatever witchy. And we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, Newfoundland Witch Co, and we have a website and a podcast, and I can't remember the links to those, Spotify, newfoundlandwitchco.com. But yeah, I'm sure you'll be able to find us. And I'm going to pause it again because I'm going to see if Leslie pops on now.